I first hired a UX designer to my team in 2011, and since that time I've sat on more than 100 job interviews. It's a lot of portfolios, a lot of faces, and a lot of "tell me about the last time when" questions. And here is what I've learned. People who get out of the interviews with those flashy golden offers, they are rarely those people with the best portfolios or the flashiest dribble shots. But don't get me wrong here, craft matters, and you are invited to talk on a job interview because of your portfolio. But if you've been invited, that means that your portfolio is enough. And then whether or not you're going to get out of the interview with the shining offer is hanging on a completely different thing. In this video, I'm going to show you what 5 traits differentiate successful candidates from those who fail. And if you're new here, my name is Ines. I've spent 16 years designing products and shaping teams, and on this channel I share what I've learned about UX, business, and building a career that lasts. If you're also into those topics, subscribe so not to miss my weekly videos. So today I'm pulling up the curtain of what differentiates a successful candidate from those who fail. And those are not those cliche things like listen to what they are saying, prepare a good lighting. I think everybody is doing it right now correctly. The things that I'm going to share, they are differentiating candidates on a deeper level. But we, as hiring managers, we can often sense if people are having those mindsets or not. So what am I talking about? And the first thing that differentiates a successful candidate from those who fail is that they treat a job interview as a diagnosis session. That means that they are not sitting there and thinking, oh gosh, I hope they will hire me. But they are thinking, how can I help those people to understand what moves a needle for them in UX design? I first understood this concept when I was working as a UX consultant myself. If you don't know that, I spent 9 years working in agencies and consultancies, and this is how we were treating our clients. On the very first session when we are getting together, we were not just selling them our services. We were doing some background work. So before they were even paying us, we were assessing what this company might be needing, who are the people that are on the top of the company, what are the approximate KPIs that they are going to care about, and things like that. And we were even coming with some proposals. But here is an important caveat. We were not coming with the proposals to change something entirely. In fact, we were not even suggesting them anything concrete. But we were suggesting them a treatment plan. So imagine the same way like you would come to a doctor, and you would probably not trust a doctor who would suggest you a treatment right away at the very first session. When you're really dealing with something complex, doctors are usually suggesting you to do some tests. And then out of the test results, you can then create a treatment plan. Consultants, they do the absolutely same thing. So we were suggesting what tests and what analysis we can run for them in order to understand the problem better, and then we will be able to suggest a treatment plan. So in my belief, the same way you should approach any job interview that you will be having. The ideal scenario is when your hiring manager gets out of an interview with you with some ideas on what they can try already. And I suggest you not being worried that they are going to use your ideas and they're going to abandon you and they're going to use you. This mindset really creates nothing good. If we were concerned about that as consultants, then we would be gatekeeping our insights and our proposals. And then our clients would probably get nothing of the very first interview with us, and they would probably prefer maybe some other people who are giving them the sense of the next steps that they are going to concretely take. So I personally see no point in hiding what you have uncovered during your preparation process and what ideas would you suggest to them. Because this way they will also get a sense of how it is to work with you. What would be your first steps on the job when you will be starting? Because most candidates, they really are only caring if this company is a great fit for them. And they are assessing, okay, how is your UX maturity, who is in the team. They are basically asking only questions that are concerning themselves. And although it is really important to ask those questions to set your expectations on a correct level, still the best way to get hired is to think about the other party and to think about what you can suggest to them to move the needle. And in my own interviews, when I'm a candidate and not a person who decides, I even go as far as saying that we don't know how this interview is going to be ended, but my goal is that you will get some value after talking with me. And this way I set the tone of the whole conversation, and I suggest you to do the same. But of course then you will have to deliver on this promise. The second thing that helps successful candidates to land a job all the time is that they come prepared. And this thing actually related to the previous one, because effectively you cannot be a consultant if you have not been doing this groundwork. And same thing here, when I was working as a UX consultant, we were spending lots and lots of hours, sometimes days and weeks, to prepare to this first session with a client. You might not need weeks to prepare to your interviews as candidates, but you will still need to have some time thinking about the product that you are applying to. And there are many things that you need to assess to be an effective consultant at the end. For example, you need to assess the team composition. Who is on the top of the company? How far they are from the decisions that are being made about UX design? How do they care about UX design in the first place? Do they ever post on LinkedIn about the importance of customer centricity and user experience? Is it a big tech company or is it a small startup? How is the approximate complexity there? Then you need to also think, who are the clients and what are they serving? Why clients are buying their product and preferring their services over their competitors? What's this competitor edge that they demonstrate? What's their product market fit? All those things you need to assess before joining an interview. And again, if you will try to adopt this consultancy mindset, it's going to be really natural for you to search for this information. However, most candidates, they never do that. Even if they claim that they have prepared to an interview, that often means that they were practicing HR questions and they were searching through the most common design challenges that those companies are giving. That often does not imply that they were looking to the business side of things. But now, as you are watching this video, hopefully you will do better and you will be ahead of most of the candidates. Almost 99% of the candidates will be behind you, I can promise you that. When I am preparing to my interviews as a candidate, I often create a Notion page or a note with all the information that I have sourced about the company. And there were many instances where I was surprising the hiring managers by pulling up the numbers that they were caring about in this quarter or this year. Again, this information is publicly available. The only thing that you will need to do is to be creative about the ways how you can source it. Luckily, we have those AI models that can help you do that, and all this information is mostly available on LinkedIn. By the way, if you like this video and you want to receive more videos like that, then give me thumbs up and hit the subscribe button down below. It's important for me and for YouTube algorithms to start recommending you similar videos. And we're moving on. Now, the third thing that differentiates successful candidates is that they are genuinely passionate about the product and the business where they apply to. And I think a lot was said about being passionate, but anyway, I think that people are treating it in a wrong way. So what do I mean by being passionate? Most candidates, they believe that they need to demonstrate that they are passionate about UX design. And this is partially true. However, hiring managers are rarely impressed by that. What will impress them the most if you are passionate about their business, if you are passionate about those customers that they serve. And the closer is your hiring manager to the CEO of the company, the more you need to demonstrate that you're passionate about the product and you're passionate about the business and the niche, than that you are passionate about UX design. So if your interview is scheduled with the CEO herself, then you need to be overly passionate and you need to demonstrate that you know the customers and you know the business and you know the competitors, and you mostly need to focus about only the business side of things. Because honestly, CEOs are rarely into the design and product development that much, and they will appreciate your awareness about the sector of the economy that they belong. if you are interviewing with a hiring manager who is probably a design manager in a big organization, then you can probably slightly shift the focus and you can demonstrate your interest in UX design a bit more, but still this interest and this passion about the business should be your priority. And I admit that it is easier to say than to do, because when I was applying to my ever first B2B role, I was not really into B2B before. I was working on the consultancy side, and yes, we were working on some B2B products, but it was not our focus, and mostly we were delivering B2C products, and this is what I was familiar with. And with the B2C products, it's often easier to relate with the customers because oftentimes we are the customers ourselves, right? Whereas in the B2B environment, we often have no idea who are our customers, who are our users. Also, sometimes the job that they run is so complex in nature that those people, they require special training or maybe even 6 years of educational background to do this job effectively. And how on earth are we going to relate to them? How to understand what's their pain points and how to even imagine what their day look like. However, you might not like what I'm going to say, but this is exactly your job to find out what their day-to-day look like and what do they care about and what is their background, where do they live, and who are those users at the first place. So when I was applying to my very first B2B role in a really big advertisement product, similar to the Google ads, I had no idea how people can even run ads in the internet. And I had to spend like weeks going through the courses that I was able to find for free and watching the videos and watching the interface walkthroughs to even comprehend what they can possibly care about. But this exact knowledge not only helped me to become a consultant, to get to this mindset, to create those test and analysis plan and then the treatment plan that I would suggest, but it also helped me to become genuinely passionate about the thing that they were building. I was able to see real people with real pain points that were operating in those highly complex interfaces. And I was able to relate with them, and I was able to really decide that I really want to help them. But what I see as the hiring manager is that genuine passion is really hard to fake. So if you really don't care about the users, if you think that the job that they're doing is meaningless and boring, if you see the interfaces as being unnecessary, complex, and bureaucratic, then you will come across as irrelevant, as a fake person, no matter how you talk through your smile and how you use the gestures and how animated you are and how you use all those pieces of advice that coaches are often giving. And people who are working on the other side, I'm here talking purely of my experience because I loved B2B and I stayed working in B2B for the last 5 years, 6 years. And when I scored this job, in the advertisement center, I was then involved in the day-to-day life of our users. I was really compassionate to them. I was really empathetic, and I could sense the bullshit. You know, I could sense that people are really thinking that this is just the job that is on the way to their dream job where they can do something meaningful finally, and this job is just there because of the title or because of the money or because they are so desperate that they need any job basically, but then they will continue the job search just not to stick around for any longer. And now I'm still working on the B2B side. I help retailers, I help merchandisers. I know those people, they are really genuine, their work has a meaning. And I search for people who can appreciate this meaning and who can help me build sensible products for those amazing users that we are serving. So try not to fake it, try really be genuine, or just don't go to the area where you think that you don't belong. The thing number 4 that I'm going to share is a bit more practical and a bit more easy to implement, although I think the previous things are also easy to implement if you will set yourself into being genuine, into being caring. But this thing is really practical, but I think many people miss that out. And I'm talking about the timekeeping. And nothing can really disappoint the hiring manager more than a candidate who is not doing the timekeeping, who is taking too long to answer the simple question, who is making them to stay longer on the interview than that was intended, or who cannot get to the point although they've been given like 10 minutes to the answer. And the thing is that this thing is so easy to comment on, so easy to pinpoint, and so easy to tell to other colleagues that you would rather not to go forward with this candidate because the candidate cannot do the simple timekeeping, that I suggest you caring about this thing all the time. And I'm surprised up until now actually that so many candidates who are clearly seniors or even staff or principal designers, they demonstrate that they just cannot keep the track of the time. And I think that timekeeping is a separate skill that is not taught on boot camps. Sometimes it is not even taught at your day-to-day job, especially if your team is not caring about the time that much. I was also working with the clients and with the teams where they set you a slot of 45 minutes and then it turns out to be an hour and a half. And this is just the indicator that the team is not caring about the time. And if you've been working in this team, you might also be thinking this way. But especially if you're looking for a job in a big tech company, or if you are looking to get really high paying clients, believe me that they are going to care about the time. And the most fantastic thing is when you can develop this inner sense of time that you use in every interaction. So you come on time when you promise to do that, you finish on time when it is also set so in the calendar. But also if you don't yet feel it intuitively, you can use some tricks that you can openly reveal through your interview process. The most fantastic example that I saw was from a candidate who openly said that they are practicing timekeeping, so if we also don't mind that they will set themselves the time to answer. And we were surprised, but we had nothing against that. And the person really set themselves a timer. They gave themselves 5 minutes to answer, and they stick to that. And when we were discussing this candidate internally, we were all commenting how we liked this approach and how it stood out for us and how we have nothing against that and how it demonstrates that this person is developing, that they are caring about the time and they are striving to become better. I don't think that you shall all implement this technique openly. It's rather, I would suggest you being a bit more discreet, because in our discussions, this aspect dragged too much attention from the actual things that the candidate was saying. But if you are really desperate, you can use that, of course. But if you can be a bit more discreet, if you can peek at the time while you are answering, that could be even better. By the way, if you want to practice job interviews with me, check out my upcoming course, Job Interviews and Design Challenges. The link will be down below. During the course of 3 weeks, we're going to have 7 live sessions and a lot of on-demand materials, guides, and checklists, all to ramp up your interview confidence. And we're moving on. And the last thing that I wanted to share with you about a thing that can make or break a hiring decision is in no way the least one. I was even thinking that I need to place it as the first one, but then I was deciding that you probably need some more practical and easy things to go with before you can trust my judgment. And this last thing is demonstrating your values and having a standpoint. What am I talking about? Sometimes when I'm talking with a person, I'm not really clear who is this person even. We might even be chatting about snowboarding and the things that we are doing outside the work hours, but still I have no sense how this person will behave in a critical situation. What are the person's values or standpoints? And that often leaves me wishing for more. However, in some cases, we don't have more time to interview the person to find out those values on some other interviews. And this is the same as you would be searching for a friend or for a partner. I think it's overall nice to understand what is this person caring about? Are you having the same worldviews? Are you on the same side of things, if there is the side? What this person is caring about in UX design, for example? What do they care about in the team dynamics? Are they a team player or they are a solo player? And there is nothing wrong in any of those answers. It's just I need to know them. However, out of my conversations with other hiring managers, I was able to spot that this is a common issue. This is happening mostly when people have just graduated from a high school or from a university and they are overall on a path to search for who they are in this life. Or when a person is really only starting in UX design and they don't know how they would behave if someone disagrees with their decision. Should they go and confront that, or should they go and implement what was suggested? But this is treated quite easily when you just spend more time searching about UX design, reading about different situations that might come across. And sometimes it happens because people are so desperate to land this job that they are afraid to say something wrong. And then instead of saying anything concrete, they give you no answer. For example, when you ask them what would you do when a developer is not happy about your solution, they might start blubbing and they might start giving you a really vague answer that they would do this if this is this, and they would do that if this is that, and then you get out of having no examples, no clear view on how this person will resolve this conflict. And in my opinion, this is even worse than giving a wrong answer. So if you're applying to a team who is doing everything by a consensus, but you're really not this person who will be satisfying every team member and will be convincing every team member that this is the best solution that you've been building, and you would rather just confront them and you would advocate for the solution that you have because you are an expert in that, then from the perspective of the consensus team, your answer might be too harsh and they might not like it and they might not hire you. However, it is still better than giving no answer or giving this fluff that a person should take as an answer, because really it is so annoying. It leads to this sense that my time was wasted and that I cannot even base my judgment on anything. After that, when we are having a discussion about such candidate, we often just waste our time because we cannot pinpoint the quality that we can hire this person for. And then eventually in most cycles I've been to, that leads to saying a no, because we just cannot take an informed decision and we probably sense that this person either is not too experienced or maybe they need to do some work on defining those values, but we cannot see if this person matches our team culturally. So I really recommend everyone to think about their values and about their standpoints and to clearly demonstrate that during interview process. And yes, some people and some teams are not going to like you. That happened with me as well. One of the values that I have is that I would rather do something quick and I would bring it to the discussion even if the solution is not perfect and is not well thought through. And I really got some comments from some teams that they are not supporting this approach and they would rather hire a person who is thinking through the solution, maybe taking a bit longer before they come and present it. And this is completely fine. I'm not going to be satisfied working this way anyway. So what's the point of pretending that I would be happy working like that? I will not be. That will hinder my career. That will make me unhappy. And in many cases, hiring managers, they seek for the differences anyway. And we are embracing those differences way more often than you might anticipate. So you might think that if it is overall a team who is taking too long to produce the solution before they even present it, that we will always reject candidates who are working fast to present a solution that is half-baked. However, usually during the discussions that we are having, we are considering if adding a person who is moving fast and break things is going to be beneficial for this particular team, because maybe it's taking to them too long to produce a solution anyway. So I suggest you not being afraid of that, being open about your values and reflecting on those standpoints that you are having and on the ways of working that you prefer. All right, those are 5 things that differentiate a successful candidate from those who fail. But what about the hiring process structure? I've made a video about what to expect from each and every hiring stage and how to prepare to it. If you you liked this video and you gave me thumbs up, then you will appreciate this one. I see you there. Psst, don't forget to check out the job interviews course below. We start really soon.